They are the most interesting monuments of all, the pyramids. How did cultures with no contact with each other decide to use this shape as the pinnacle of their constructions? Why a pyramid? Why not a sphere or other shapes that would be easier to construct? Pyramids can be found on every continent on Earth. Every culture designed, built, and used them. Why? Join us as we explore the top 10 pyramids of the world. We begin with a pyramid that may not be a pyramid at all. The Bosnian Pyramid, located in Bisko, near the center of Bosnia. Since 2005, a Bosnian-American businessman based in Houston, Texas, Semir Osmanic, has claimed that these hills are the largest human-made ancient pyramids on Earth. His claims have been overwhelmingly refuted by scientists, but he proceeded to promote the idea as a tourist attraction. In October 2005, Semir, with his supporters, initiated a long-running media campaign to promote the pseudoscientific belief that this hill and the surrounding hills are an ancient pyramid complex. In an interview with Philip Coppens, Semir suggested that they were most likely constructed by the Illyrians, who, according to him, lived in the area from 12,000 BC to 500 BC. He has since argued that it is an example of cultures building on top of other cultures. In 2017, Semir was reported to have claimed that the structures date back 34,000 years. In addition, he claims that tunnels around the hill complex, which have been named ravine tunnels, are an ancient man-made underground network. They're claimed to be up to 2.4 miles. He claims to have found fossilized leaves in them dating back 34,000 years. Semir supports a number of fringe claims, saying they discovered standing waves at the top of the largest of the hills, waves which he asserts travel faster than light and prove the existence of a cosmic internet that allows for intergalactic communication. He also promotes the idea of ancient astronauts and claims that human beings are the product of genetic engineering. He has given his own names to the hills. He's named the two largest hills as the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, which is not to be confused with the Pyramids of the Sun and Moon in Teotihuacan, Mexico. Other hills have been named as the Pyramids of Love, the Earth, and the Dragon. Local authorities have funded the excavations and authorized visits to the pyramids by school children, with guides telling them the hills are part of the Bosnian heritage. The site has become a tourist destination. Most archaeologists agree it is not a pyramid, but locally, since the claims, tourists have flocked to see it, and the Bosnian government enjoys the fruits of tourist dollars, so many accept it as an ancient pyramid. You would need to go there and see it for yourself, then decide if it is indeed an ancient pyramid. If the Bosnian turns out to be an actual pyramid, then it is one of the oldest ever, possibly predating what we believe to be the dawn of mankind. If that is true, then who built it and why? Could there be an alien connection, or perhaps a civilization that predates man? Monte is an ancient megalithic structure in northern Sardinia, Italy, and dates from around 4000 to 3650 BCE. The structure was initially built by the Azeria culture, a prehistoric civilization that constructed more than 200 related archaeological sites. The structure was damaged around 3000 BC, with agricultural evidence suggesting traces of burning as a possible cause. By 2800 BC, the original structure was restored with additional platforms and a step pyramid that reached around 10 meters in height. The pyramid is believed to be the earliest known sacrificial site in Western Europe, evidently by the trace of remains of sheep, cattle, and swine in the area. No chambers or entrances to the mound have been found, leading to the presumption that it was an altar, a temple, or a step pyramid. It may have also served as an observational function, as its square plan is coordinated with the cardinal points of the compass. Archaeological excavations from this area indicates that Monte was used for animal sacrifice, with the remains of sheep, cattle, and swine recovered in near equal proportions. It's along the earliest known sacrificial sites in Western Europe, providing insight into the development of ritual prehistoric society and earning it a designation as the most singular cultural monument in the early Western Mediterranean. The site appears to have been abandoned again around 1800 BC on the onset of the Nuragic Age. Who influenced these people to build a pyramid? Why this shape, and what was its original purpose? The reason why prehistoric people decided on the pyramid shape and not some other shape is in question. No one knows the answer. Could they have been trying to rebuild a previous civilization using the shapes they used? Or were they influenced by some outside source to make monuments in this design? The Pyramid of Cestius is an ancient pyramid in Rome, Italy, near the Porta San Paolo and the Protestant cemetery. It stands at a fork between two ancient roads, and another road that ran west to the Tiber along the approximate lines of the modern Via della Marmara. Due to its incorporation into the city's fortifications, it is today one of the best preserved ancient buildings in Rome. The pyramid was built about 18 to 12 BC as a tomb for Gaius Cestius, a magistrate and member of one of the four great religious corporations in Rome. It is a brick-faced concrete covered with slab with white marble standing on a trevine foundation. In the interior is the burial chamber, a simple barrel-vaulted rectangular cavity. When opened in 1660, the chamber was found to be decorated with frescoes, which were recorded by Petrio Santo Bartoli. Only scant traces of these frescoes survive, and no trace of any other content. The tomb has been sealed when it was built, with no exterior entrance, but it has been plundered at some time thereafter, probably during antiquity. Until the end of restoration works in 2015, it was not possible for visitors to access the interior except by special permission, typically only granted to scholars. Since the beginning of May 2015, the pyramid is open to the public every second and fourth Saturday each month. Visitors must arrange their visit in advance. The origins of the pyramid were forgotten during Middle Ages. The inhabitants of Rome came to believe that it was the tomb of Remus, and that its counterpart near the Vatican was the tomb of Romulus, a belief recorded at that time. Its true provenance was declared by Pope Alexander's excavations in the 1660s, which cleared the vegetation that had overgrown the pyramid, uncovered the inscriptions on its face,
tunneled into the tomb's burial chamber and found the bases of 2 bronze statues that had stood alongside the pyramid. Restoration of the pyramid began in 2013, and today it can be seen near the Porta San Paolo and the Protestant Cemetery. When you think of pyramids, you may not think of the United States. But as with all pyramid designs, the USA is not left out of the places to find ancient pyramids. Many pre-Columbian Native American societies of ancient North America built large pyramidal earth structures known as platform mounds. Among the largest and best known of these structures is Monk's Mound at the site of Cahokia in what became Illinois, completed around 1100 CE, which has a base larger than that of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its base circumference is larger than the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan. As a platform mound, the earthworks supported a wooden structure on the summit. Unlike Egyptian pyramids, which were built of stone, the platform mound was constructed almost entirely of layers of basket-transported soil and clay. Monk's Mound is the largest pre-Columbian earthwork in the Americas and the largest pyramid north of Mesoamerica. The beginning of its construction dates from 900 to 955 CE, located at the Cahokia Mounds. Because of its dimensions, Monk's Mound is roughly the same size at its base as the Great Pyramid of Giza. The perimeter of its base is larger than the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan. As a platform mound, the earthwork supported a wooden structure on the summit. For ancient Indians to make a great effort to pile dirt into this shape is questioned even today. Was there some reason they made this huge mound? Did this ancient culture see something similar and wanted to reproduce it? Could they have been influenced by another culture far away, an ancient culture that predates their own? Or could they have been given the design by an alien visit? The Temple of the Great Jaguar, or Tikal, is a huge pyramid temple in Tikal, one of the largest archaeological sites and urban centers of the pre-Columbian Mayan civilization. The temple dates back to around 732 AD, and it is 155 feet tall. The lintels within were formed from planks of wood set into small niches fashioned into the walls, forming the 3 doorways. The outermost lintel was smooth, but the central lintel was carved intricately from 4 planks. 2 of these planks were removed in the 19th century, and their location now is unknown. The other 2 were removed by the British explorer John Bottom-Wetham and donated to the British Museum in London. The scene carved into one lintel shows a seated figure with an enormous serpent rising above him. The king probably planned the building of the temple long before his death. The temple rises in 9 stepped levels, which may be symbolic of the 9 levels of the underworld. The temple has grooved moldings and inset corners. A steep staircase climbs the temple to the summit shrine.
One of the outstanding pieces recovered from the tomb was an ornate jade mosaic vessel and the lid bearing a sculpted portrait of the king. Also accompanying the burial was a series of 37 finely carved human bones bearing inscriptions and hieroglyphic text arranged in a pile by the king's right foot. In 1986, ProNet carried out repairs to cracks in the roof of the temple. Modern Maya held a fire ceremony on the 21st of December at dawn in the main plaza in front of the temple. Guatemalan and foreign priests led the ceremony, asking for unity, peace, and the end of discrimination and racism, with the hope that the new cycle will bring a new dawn for them. About 3,000 people participated in the event. Mexico is dotted with various pyramids, some large, some smaller, but all are massive monuments. Where did the Aztec, Mayan, and other ancient Mexican cultures get the idea to build so many and such large structures in this shape? Did the ancient cultures of Mexico have access to the world and they saw other such monuments? Or could they have been given the design idea, and perhaps even technology, that encouraged them, as well as cultures around the world, to use this shape and build so many pyramids? Also known as the Pyramid of the Dwarf, this Mesoamerican step pyramid is located in the ancient pre-Columbian city of Oxmal, Mexico, and the tallest and most recognizable structure in it. The exact height is disputed, but it's around 115 feet. The rounded sides and steep slope are just some of the unique features of this pyramid. The name of the structure is derived from folk legends told by the indigenous Mayan people. The age of these tales is unknown, as in the pre-Columbian name of the structure. The tale existed in varied accounts concerning the construction of the Pyramid of the Magician. According to one account, a magician god named Ismania was single-handedly supposed to have erected the pyramid in one night using his might and magic. Another tale holds that when a certain gong was to sound, the city of Oxmal was destined to be led by a boy not born of a woman. The gong was struck one day by a dwarf that was born into no other mother, but rather hatched from an egg by a childless old woman. The sound of the gong struck fear in the city's ruler, and the dwarf was ordered to be executed. The ruler reconsidered the death sentence, though, and promised that the dwarf's life would be spared if he could perform 3 seemingly impossible tasks. One of the tasks was to build a massive pyramid taller than any building in the city in a single night. The dwarf ultimately completed all the tasks, including the construction of the pyramid. The dwarf was hailed as the new ruler of Oxmal, and the structure was dedicated to him. In other survivors' versions, the old woman is portrayed as a witch or a sorceress, and the dwarf is a boy who magically reaches adulthood overnight. The earlier phases of the Pyramid of the Magician were constructed in the Puic style, rather bare on the lower part and very ornate at higher levels. Early Puic architecture included roof crests, inclined friezes, and an absence of mosaic decoration. Later Puic styles were marked by the use of limestone in their construction, often with smooth wall surfaces,
finishes, masks, and other representations of the rain god. The Pyramid of the Magician remains the central tourist attraction of the complex. Modern facilities can now be found at the entrance, immediately in front of the pyramid, including a cafeteria, souvenir shop, and restrooms. There's also a small museum and auditorium. The site is open between 8 and 5 with a sound and light show presented in both English and Spanish every evening. The Pyramid of the Magician is the focal point of the show. Could any of these ancient stories be true, or have a grain of truth to them? If so, then these people were witness to what could only be called magic. If it were not magical, then perhaps they witnessed advanced technology and thought it was magic. We may never know the truth, but the monument is real and does exist, and you can travel to Mexico and the Pyramid of the Magician and see it for yourself. El Castillo, also known as the Temple of Kukulkan, is the largest and most significant structure in Chichen Itza. The pyramid consists of a series of square terraces with stairways on each of the 4 sides to the top. Chichen Itza was a large pre-Columbian city built by the Mayan people. It was one of the largest Mayan cities and major focal points in the northern Mayan lowlands for centuries. Today, Chichen Itza is one of the most visited archaeological sites in Mexico, with around 1.2 million visitors each year. Chichen Itza is also a cultural heritage site. Built by the pre-Columbian Mayan civilization sometime between the 8th and 12th century, the pyramid served as a temple to the deity Kukulkan, the Mayan feathered serpent deity closely related to Quetzalcoatl, a deity known to the Aztecs and other central Mexican cultures of the post-classic period. It has a substructure that likely was constructed several centuries earlier. The pyramid consists of a series of square terraces with stairways up each of the 4 sides to the temple on top. Sculptures of plumed serpents run down its sides. Around the spring and autumn equinoxes, the late afternoon sun strikes off the northwest corner of the pyramid and casts a series of triangular shadows against the northwest side, creating the illusion of the feathered serpent crawling down the pyramid. To contemporary visitors, this event has been very popular and is witnessed by thousands at the spring equinox, but it is not known whether the phenomenon is a result of a purposeful design, since the light and shadow effect can be observed without major changes during several weeks near the equinoxes. All 4 sides of the pyramid have approximately 91 steps, which, when added together and including the temple platform on top as the final step, may produce a total of 365 steps. That number is equal to the number of days of the Heb year and likely is significantly related to rituals. The structure is 79 feet high, plus an additional 20 feet for the temple at the top. The square base measures 181 feet across. Around 2006, the National Institute of Anthropology and History, which manages the archaeological site, started closing monuments to the public. While visitors may walk around them, they may no longer climb them or enter the chambers. This occurred after a climber fell to her death. Could this pyramid have been purposely designed to display a light show effect of shadow as the form of a serpent crawls down it? If so, then this represents an incredible technology, or at least an understanding of how the position of the monument would be affected by light once constructed and on specific days.
Where did these ancient people get the idea to build this monument, choose its pyramid shape, and then construct it so its position was perfectly aligned to cause a shadow effect on the surface? Another beautiful pyramid in Egypt, the Red Pyramid. It is the largest of the three major pyramids located at the Dashur necropolis. At a height of 341 feet, the North Pyramid is called the Red Pyramid because of the rusty reddish color of its granite stones. It's also believed to be Egypt's first successful attempt at constructing a true smooth-sided pyramid. Local residents refer to the Red Pyramid as the Bat Pyramid. The Red Pyramid was not always red. It used to be cased with white Tura limestone, but only a few of these stones now remain at the pyramid's base at the corner. During the Middle Ages, much of the white Tura limestone was taken for buildings in Cairo, revealing the red limestone beneath. The Red Pyramid, along with the Bent Pyramid, was closed to tourists for many years because of a nearby army camp. It's now usually open for tourists, and a somewhat intrusive ventilation has been installed which pipes air down the entrance shaft to the interior chambers. Visitors climb steps cut in or built over the stones of the pyramid to an entrance high on the north side. A passage slopes down to a short horizontal passage leading into a chamber whose roof is high and it rises in 11 steps. At the southern end of the chamber, but offset to the west, another short horizontal passage leads into the second chamber. This passage was probably closed at one time, and the offset was a measure intended to confuse potential robbers. The second chamber is similar to the first and lies directly beneath the apex of the pyramid. High in the southern wall of the chamber is an entrance, now reached by a large wooden staircase built for the convenience of tourists. This gives onto a short horizontal passage that leads to the third and final chamber, with a roof about 50 feet high. The first two chambers have their long axis aligned north-south, but this chamber's long axis is aligned east-west. Unlike the first two chambers, which have fine, smooth floors on the same level as the passages, the floor of the third chamber is very rough and sunk below the level of access passage. It's believed that this is the work of robbers searching for treasure in what is thought to have been the burial chamber of the pyramid. Archaeologists speculate its design may be an outcome of engineering crisis experienced during the construction of Senufru's two earlier pyramids. The first of these, the Pyramid of Medium, collapsed in antiquity, while the second, the Bent Pyramid, had the angle of its inclination dramatically altered from 54 to 43 degrees partway through construction. Is this a pyramid they finally got right? Or were the pyramid builders helped to design the Red Pyramid so it would stand correctly? If so, then better and more advanced mathematics came into play for them to get it right. This beautiful pyramid is the largest building in Teotihuacan, a pre-Columbian Mesoamerican city 30 miles northeast of Mexico City. The pyramid is 233 feet tall. The Pyramid of the Sun
is the largest building in Teotihuacan and one of the largest in Mesoamerica. It's believed to have been constructed around 200 AD. Found along the Avenue of the Dead, in between the Pyramid of the Moon and the Cudelia, is the shadow of the mountain Cerro Gordo. The pyramid is part of a large complex in the heart of the city. The name Pyramid of the Sun comes from the Aztecs, who visited the city of Teotihuacan centuries after it was abandoned. The actual name given to the pyramid by the Teotihuacanos is unknown. It was constructed in two phases. The first construction stage, around 200 CE, brought the pyramid to nearly the size it is today. The second round of construction resulted in its completed size of 738 feet across and 246 feet high, making it the third largest pyramid in the world, though still just over half the height of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The second phase also saw the construction of an altar atop the pyramid, which has not survived into modern times. Over the structure, the ancient Teotihuacanos finished their pyramid with lime plaster imported from surrounding areas, on which they painted brilliantly colored murals. While the pyramid has endured for centuries, the paint and plaster have not and are no longer visible. Jaguar heads and paws, stars, and snake rattles are among the few images associated with the pyramids. The pyramid was built on a carefully selected spot from which it was possible to align it both to the north and to perpendicular directions to sunrises and sunsets on specific dates, recorded by a number of architectural orientations in Mesoamerica. The whole central part of the urban grid of Teotihuacan, including the Avenue of the Dead, reproduces the orientation of the Sun Pyramid, while the southern part exhibits a slightly different orientation. The pyramid was built over a man-made tunnel leading to a cave located 6 meters down beneath the center of the structure. Originally, this was believed to be a naturally formed lava tube and interpreted as possibly the place of Chichen, the place of human origin, according to their legends. More recent excavations have suggested that the space is man-made and could have served as a royal tomb. Recently, scientists have used muon detectors to try to find other chambers within the interior of the pyramid, but substantial looting has prevented the discovery of a function for the chambers in Teotihuacan society. Only a few caches of artifacts have been found in and around the pyramid. Obsidian arrowheads and human figurines have been discovered inside the pyramid, and similar objects have been found at the nearby Pyramid of the Moon and Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent. These objects may have represented sacrificial victims. A unique historical artifact discovered near the foot of the pyramid at the end of the 19th century was the Teotihuacan oscillate, which is now in the British Museum's collection. In addition, burial sites of children have been found in excavations at the corners of the pyramid. It's believed that these burials were part of a sacrificial ritual dedicating the building of the pyramid. It is thought that the pyramid venerated a deity within Teotihuacan society. However, little evidence exists to support this hypothesis. The destruction of the temple on top of the pyramid by both deliberate and natural forces prior to the archaeological study of the site has so far prevented identification of the pyramid with any particular deity. We know the Aztecs discovered the complex. They didn't build it. The Teotihuacanos did. So who were the Teotihuacanos? Much speculation comes into play when trying to define a civilization whereby information is simply not known. We do not know what the Teotihuacans named or referred to the complex as, nor who or what it was built for. We also don't know where they got the idea, or if they were given instruction to build the complex. The Pyramid of the Sun and Moon is one of the most perplexing monuments in existence today, and continued investigation of the site may reveal even more facts, or even more mysteries. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the oldest and largest between three pyramids of Giza. It's also the oldest and the only still standing structure of the seven wonders of the ancient world. The Great Pyramid was built around 2560 to 2540 BC, with a height of 481 feet. The pyramids of Giza are listed as Cultural World Heritage Sites. The Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu or the Pyramid of Cheops, is the oldest and largest of the pyramids in the Giza Plaza complex bordering present-day Giza in Greater Cairo, Egypt. It is the oldest of the seven wonders of the ancient world and the only one to remain largely intact. Much can be said about this pyramid and its construction. Scientists have concluded how it was made, but even that is a theory. Its construction is baffling, and often mysterious and even supernatural methods were used to explain it. To say it is a marvel is an understatement. For it to be built in antiquity using basic tools boggles the mind, as there are stones within the pyramid. Even our modern equipment and heavy lifting machines would labor just to shift or adjust the stones. There's also signs of advanced science and machinery used in its construction. The Great Pyramid has been determined to be about 4,600 years old by two principal approaches. Indirectly, through its attribution to Khufu and his chronological age based on archaeological and textual evidence, and directly via radiocarbon dating of organic material found in the pyramid and included in its mortar. However, if either or both of these points of references are incorrect, then the age of the pyramid could be much older. We have no way of dating stone, so organic material found within the pyramid was used for carbon dating, material that could have been introduced into it later. And if Khufu didn't design and construct it, as some scientists are now questioning, then basing it on his lifespan could also be incorrect. The Pyramid of Khufu seems to raise more questions than it answers, and without any definitive proof, it remains a point of conjecture to this day. For decades, people have alluded to secret chambers within the pyramid yet to be discovered, and the entire complex is inexplicable, as well as more monuments that raise further speculation. As we have discovered, every continent on Earth has at least one or more pyramids or pyramid complexes.
A question that continues to elude modern man is why this shape was chosen for so many cultures and used to erect giant monuments when much easier and simpler shapes could have been utilized. The most basic answer is the shape of a pyramid allows weight to be distributed evenly throughout the structure. Most of the weight in a pyramid is on the bottom, and it decreases the higher you go. This allowed ancient civilizations to create huge structures of stone that were very sturdy. So, did ancient civilizations figure this out on their own, or was this somehow communicated to them? Why use heavy stones to construct these shapes when smaller, lighter stones would have been easier to transport and align into the structure? Some pyramids contain very large, heavy stones. Some so heavy, even today with modern technology, we would have a hard time moving and setting them into a complex design of a pyramid. In the case of the Native American mounds, they were constructed by using baskets of dirt piled into a pyramid shape. Though this was easier than transporting and aligning huge blocks, it still was an enormous endeavor, requiring many workers and time to finally complete the mound. What was their motivation to take on such an enormous task? Cultures around the globe apparently took on this very same task, constructing pyramids from small and even giant stone blocks. Motivation is the key. No matter how important a god or an individual was, this was an enormous effort to memorialize him or her. Often it took decades to complete a monument of such size, and a workforce dedicated to finalizing the pyramid. Statues and other stone works often contribute to the arrangements and placements in and around a pyramid. Belief can be a powerful motivator. So what did they believe in? Was it the memory of a king or leader, a person that was placed in such high regard they deified him or her? Or could it be that they witnessed something so grandiose, so amazing, it changed them spiritually forever, and they felt they needed to memorialize that encounter? If ancient cultures were so motivated to use this shape and build giant monuments, then the motivation itself must have been grand, and it happened all around the globe. It's possible that peoples from ancient cultures traveled the globe, saw monuments from other cultures, and wanted to emulate a version of their own. Or someone or something brought the idea to them and motivated them where they were. Is it possible that a single event witnessed by cultures around the planet was the impetus to start construction on a pyramid or a complex, and work to finalize it as a monument to this event? If so, what kind of event would sear this shape into the minds of these ancient people and be so powerful as to motivate them to do such an enormous physical task? There are many theories as to why pyramids appear in almost all cultures around the world. One is the extraterrestrial theory. The origins and composition of the Great Pyramid, our oldest wonder of the world, have long confounded scholars. How did engineers manage to achieve this seemingly impossible feat that building these masterpieces would require? Well, the truth is, nobody knows for sure. While some believe that construction workers may have used large ramps to transport the stones, this theory has been largely disproven, as there is little archaeological evidence to support the claim. According to some, the aliens were instrumental in helping ancient Egyptians build their masterpieces. Believers argue that in order to design the pyramids as they are, one would need a bird's eye view, the kind that
could be provided from a flying saucer. They also believe that in order to create an object that obeys the golden ratio, a mathematical relationship based on the special number pi, the Egyptians would have needed help from outside sources. The alien theory has persisted to present day. In 2001, Russian scientist Dr. Viktor Ivanovich claimed that the KGB had found ancient alien remains inside the Great Pyramid. Like its pyramid counterparts, the Great Sphinx of Giza is one of the largest and most mysterious ancient structures in the world. At 240 feet long and 66 feet wide, the Sphinx crouches on its forearms and haunches, but looks ready to spring into action at any moment. It is often seen as a statue of solar worship because it faces due east and because the lion is a symbol traditionally associated with the sun. No one knows for sure who created this grand hybrid creature, but historians suspect that it was erected in honor of Pharaoh Khafi, the son of Khufu, though there isn't much evidence to support even this claim. We do know that unlike the pyramids, the Sphinx was not constructed from many different pieces. It was carved from a single block of limestone, which remains a miraculous feat in itself. Naturally, some people have proposed that aliens had a hand in creating the Sphinx, going as far as citing similarities between the Sphinx vestige and a humanoid face that appears in a satellite photo of Mars. Today, the enormous statue still stands even after extensive vandalism and weathering, including thousands of years of having been buried almost entirely under the sand until it was dug up in the 1930s. Its age is in question too, as some of the Sphinx shows weathering that could only have occurred thousands of years before modern archaeologists believe it was made. Whether or not ancient cultures were blessed by alien visitors, the ancient Egyptians have provided us with some of the most important technologies humans have created. They developed modern writing technologies, including ink made of a brew of gum, soot, and beeswax, and they used the ink to write on the first paper on record, papyrus, which is crafted from the pith of the papyrus plant. Putting their paper and ink to good use, they developed an intricate lettering system that used some 1,000 characters. The hieroglyphics survived and eventually evolved into the Phoenician alphabet, the oldest alphabetical lettering system on record. They also made strides in agriculture, inventing highly advanced cutting tools and pioneering the first iterations of technologies like the ox-drawn plow and the sickle around 4000 BC. Could all of these inventions have been inspired as gifts from an alien civilization that our cultures had contact with? Arguably, the ancient Egyptians set the stage for the hyper-advanced civilization we live in now, where we measure the grandeur of civilizations by their tallest buildings and their rapid technological growth. As the ancient Arabic proverb says, man fears time, time fears the pyramids. There is a such thing as pyramid power. The idea that the pyramid shape can heal, restore, and even preserve organic material. Some believe the pyramids were used for healing or to enhance life in some way. Back in the 1970s, pyramid power became something of a fad as more people began to explore this shape and how it focused energy for better health and life. This tradition continues to this day, with many holistic and metaphysical societies using pyramids for relaxation, meditation, and healing energy. These are actually based on real medical data. Research has shown that the energy field within the pyramid can protect the hippocampal neurons of mice from stress-reduced atrophy and also reduce neuroendocrine stress, oxidative stress, and increased antioxidant defense in rats. Pyramid research to date reveals some evidence that the space within the Great Pyramid and its smaller replicas enhances, intensifies, and/or generates energy of the electromagnetic spectrum and other forms or degrees of the so-called universal energy. The effect of this pyramid energy has been studied on solids, liquids, plants, animals, and even human volunteers. Some of the findings of such studies include rapid growth of plants, faster healing of bruises and burns, longer preservation of milk, and increased vitalization and better relaxation in human subjects, according to a PMC government study. In today's world, stress and tension rule pretty much the entire universe. These issues are caused due to a lack of positivity and direction in the lives of individuals. Sleeping pills and muscle relaxants have made their way into the homes of millions as an easy escape from psychological problems. But there is a better alternative: your subconscious mind, which is not as mysterious or as inaccessible as you might think. It is only our thought process that makes us calm or agitated. To deal with all of these problems, what we have to do is to change the turbulent behavior into peaceful behavior through pyramid therapy, which is done under a geometrically shaped structure that is formed by 4 equilateral triangles at the same size on a square base in such a manner that it forms an apex on that square base. It is one of the most powerful tools to heal your chakras or harmonize your mind, body, and soul. The pyramid's power is considered to have supernatural or paranormal properties. This power is said to preserve food, maintain the sharpness of razor blades, improve health, trigger sexual urges, and cause other dramatic effects. The concept of pyramidology is said to have originated from many parts of the world, but Egypt is one of the top when it comes to talking about the subject in depth and the mystery surrounding it. Now, coming back to chakras, that also means the wheel of light in Sanskrit. The chakras are the 7 power points in the human body that circulate energy, or the life force, also known as the prana. They are vertically aligned in the center of the body, close to the spine. If the chakras are unbalanced, not properly aligned or blocked, it can affect physical and mental health. This spiritual development is also connected with the good health of the chakras. Pyramids have a special property to deflect any type of cosmic radiations that falls on its apex downwards through its baseline. At the bottom, where it's deflected cosmic radiation with the help of magnetic fields of Earth, gravitational force, and they create a new and powerful bioenergy field. Secondly, as pyramids deflect all radiation that fall on its apex through its bottom from all of its 4 sides, the inner center of the pyramid remains unaffected and safe, surrounded by a powerful bioenergy field on all sides, which helps to preserve the things and objects kept in the pyramid for a long time. Pyramids have a strong ionization effect within the body. Negative ions enhance the oxygen intake of the human body and through that strengthen well-being. Meditating under a pyramid or just taking a nap under a pyramid helps to synchronize the 7 chakras of the body. Many people experience feelings ranging from calmness to extreme euphoria during their meditation sessions inside a pyramid. Most people who have experimented with pyramid meditation describe themselves as experiencing a total relaxation of their body, followed by the shutting out of unnecessary external stimuli and irrelevant thoughts, and finally achieving an altered state of consciousness which allows them to concentrate on deeper inner levels. Is it possible that ancient man knew these secrets of the pyramid and used pyramids for healing? If so, how did they learn these facts? Did they figure it out on their own, or was this information communicated to them? If the healing power of pyramids was communicated to ancient man by some outside source, then that would be a huge motivator for cultures around the globe to choose this shape for their needs. It would explain why cultures separated by distance may have received this same knowledge and inspiration to begin construction on giant monumental pyramid buildings with chambers inside for healing energy. Is it possible that pyramids began as healing centers, like ancient hospitals, and then were used by preceding cultures for kings, empires, and finally for slaughter to gods they no longer understood? Alien influence is not the only answer to the pyramid design. There are those who speculate that mankind, as we know it today, is one of several civilizations that have occupied the earth over time. It is said we are the fifth race, the current advanced civilization. But in distant times past, other races called Earth home. Imagine your neighborhood. Then imagine that mankind were to be wiped off the earth, either by a plague or by our own hand of destruction. If you remove man, then within just 100 years, your neighborhood would be little more than remnants of what stands today. In 5,000 years, you would be hard-pressed to find any artifacts left, as cars would rust to dust. Buildings would collapse and deteriorate into nothing, and streets would be scattered rubble. In 1,000,000 years, nothing would still exist that would tell any visitor that mankind even existed at all. The earth would, over time, reshape itself, and few, if any, remnants of our civilization would be visible. The earth is 4.5 billion years old. That means the earth is 4 billion or 1,000 million years old 4 times. In that time, several civilizations could have rose and fallen multiple times after the earth cooled. After all, our knowledge of modern man is only about 10,000 years old, a mere fraction of time in the whole scheme of things. With our modern technology and archaeology, we can only look back a few million years, and the further back we go, the less accurate our dating becomes. The question now is, could a previous civilization have left a few monuments that did survive for our ancient man to have discovered, and that inspired them to create pyramids? Or could some of the oldest pyramids be remnants from some previous and even more ancient culture, one we know nothing about? We would know nothing about these previous cultures and would have no perspective to even speculate what their lives were like, how intelligent they were, and what technologies they may or may not have developed. All of their technology would have gone to waste long ago. Any writings they may have had, books they wrote, or even advanced technology would be nothing but dust deep within the earth now. However, some robust stone structures may still exist, and these stone structures would be the only tell of who they were and what they were capable of. There are rock walls in Sacsayhuaman, Peru, that appear to have been melted or molded into shapes that fit together. The wall is ancient, and scholars believe it was built by the Inca, though dating them is almost impossible as we cannot date rocks. Some believe these walls may be much older than currently believed and could be remnants from a very ancient civilization. Most of our knowledge of this wall comes from stories handed down by the Inca. The best known in this area includes its Great Plaza and its adjacent 3 massive terrace walls. The stones used in the construction of these terraces are among the largest used in any building in pre-Hispanic America. They display a precision of cutting and fitting that is unmatched in the Americas. The stones are so closely spaced that a single piece of paper will not fit between them. This precision, combined with the rounded corners of the blocks, the variety of their interlocking shapes, and the way the walls lean inward, is thought to have helped the ruins survive devastating earthquakes. Many of these stones weigh 200 tons. Is it possible that due to the way these stones were laid and designed and have survived modern quakes, they could have survived ancient and even pre-mankind quakes to remain today as just a few artifacts of a long-lost civilization? The Inca could have discovered them and built their plaza around them. Too often, we have seen cultures discover monuments from previous peoples and then claim them as their own, even inventing stories attributed to the discoverers that they built these marvels when in fact they knew nothing about the culture that actually built them. Claiming land and all within it and then distorting history to make yourself look grandiose is common in all cultures. What we do know is these walls appear to show a technology that can't be reproduced today. The ability to melt giant rocks and shape them into intricate designs and fit them together perfectly with ease. Recently, 17 lost pyramids are among the buildings identified in new satellite surveys of Egypt. More than 1,000 tombs and 3,000 ancient settlements were also revealed by looking at infrared images that show up underground buildings. Initial evacuations have already confirmed some of the findings, including 2 suspected pyramids. The work has been pioneered at the University of Alabama at Birmingham by U.S. Egyptologist Dr. Sarah Parkin. The team analyzed images from satellites orbiting above the Earth, equipped with cameras so powerful they can pinpoint objects less than a meter in diameter in the Earth's surface. Infrared imaging was used to highlight different materials under the surface, and the doctor pinpointed 2 potential pyramids, so they made test evacuations, and they now believe it is one of the most important archaeological sites in Egypt. The doctor said the most exciting moment was visiting the excavations of Tanis. They had excavated a 3,000-year-old house that the satellite imagery had shown, and the outline of the structure matched the satellite imagery perfectly. That was real validation of the technology. The Egyptian authorities plan to use the technology to help, among other things, protect the country's antiquities in the future, and she believes there are more antiquities to be discovered. 17 new and lost pyramids would be a huge find and would add to our knowledge of the dates and ways they were constructed. It boggles the mind that so many pyramids exist in Egypt alone. Imagine if this new technology
were to look for lost pyramids in Mexico or even the United States. We think of pyramids as rare and unique, but now we're finding them all over the globe and in places ancient people should have had no contact with other cultures. We're also finding there are far more of them than previously discovered. Apparently, this shape and design was far more widespread than we ever imagined, and more discoveries are being made within and around the ones we do know about every few years. Some of these pyramids that are hidden and buried could be much older than the ones we now see on the surface. They could contain clues to who built them and even a connection to an extraterrestrial source for their inspiration, or even technology left behind by a previous civilization. The wonder of the pyramids are enormous, and as we discover more, we find those discoveries bring more questions than answers. Often we learn something new, but add additional mysteries to the whole of the pyramid design. Who knows what may be revealed in our lifetimes as more of these monuments are studied and discovered? Perhaps we will be the generation of our civilization that will finally answer the mysterious questions of the pyramids.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3,